Latest entrant, latest technology. Welcome to Intel 4G LTE Advanced Annex C or any of our stores in Lagos, Abuja, and Port. Intel.
To every politician, as the campaigns gain momentum and passions begin to rise, remember, the errors of your opponents do not make you a success. Do not run down your opponent and inflame passions to violence between and among your supporters. What counts is what you plan to do for the electorate and how you intend to relieve the sufferings and bring succor. Nigeria is in dire need of patriotic leaders at all levels, leaders who will make national development their priority. Concentrate on telling the electorate what you intend to do when you get into office. Focus on making your vision clear to the electorate. Don't engage in verbal abuses, fake news, or speeches. Keep dealing with issues that will bring progress. You win the hearts and minds of the people by being above board, by being civil, patriotic, and showing empathy. Let's join hands to make the 2023 elections peaceful. A message from the National Orientation Agency.
What is happening? Your eyes are red. You are armed with a machete and a gun.
See, I am angry and I can't even contain it. See,
my guy, calm down. Calm down.
See, Oga, I have planned to go and destroy these people's businesses in the city. I have to retaliate for what they've done at their own place. They cannot eat their cake and have it now, never.
If you destroy their business here and they destroy that of those close to you over there, especially that your brother who sends you steady cash, how would you survive? Would your dreams be on hold?
See, what you're saying is correct, but I'm still angry.
Best way is to embrace peace. With peace and unity,
my people, let us embrace peace and unity. Let's learn to live as brothers and sisters for a progressive, prosperous nation. This message is brought to you from the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Stronger vision for a better tomorrow. NTA, growing with the nation.
Together, no matter where you come from, no matter your religion, we are one. Let's live together. Let's not fight in each other. Let us live as one. It doesn't matter where you come from, your tribe or religion, man, woman, or child. It doesn't matter who you are. Put Nigeria first. No matter where you come from, no matter your religion, we are one. Let's live together. How can we develop when we're always in crisis? Families have become refugees in their country, no matter our differences.
Hello there, this is Weekend File on the NTA. We are live in Abuja. The Central Bank of Nigeria, exercising its statutory responsibility, announced lately the decision to redesign and reissue existing 1,000, 500 and 200 currency denominations in an effort to checkmate rising inflation and take control of the money supply in the country. On account of this policy, Weekend File tonight will, among other critical economic considerations, bring into focus the impact on national socio-economic and political growth and development, direct benefits to the people while reflecting and allaying the fears of perceived disadvantages of the initiative. We have situation reports from zones, and our guest is Dr. Chijoke Ekechukwu, an economist and Vice President, Industry, Abuja Chamber of Commerce. I am Kene Ima Abodike. Welcome. The first set of mega transformers procured under the federal government Siemens deal are ready for installation, with Abuja as the first benefiting city. Minister of Power Abubakar Aliyu gave the cheering news while inspecting site where the transformers will be installed. Joshua Ojito reports.
First set of the mega transformers will be installed in Abuja, and the Power Minister Abubakar Aliyu inspects the site, while more of the transformers are undergoing factory acceptance test.
It is already been cleared at the port, and due to the flooding, you cannot transport it, and that delayed the transportation. But we are now informed that the transportation will take place now, and it will be installed at the All Apo.
Meanwhile, work on the 5 new substations under the Abuja Ring Fence project to wrap up bulk electricity transmission around the nation's capital is nearing completion. The project will enable Abuja, in addition to hydro and Geragu sources, receive third source of power supply through the new 330 kV transmission line in Lafia, Nasarawa State. Located in Dawaki, Wumba, Kuje, Apo and Lugbe, the new substations will increase the transmission wheeling capacity with additional 1,000 megawatts, thereby boosting electricity supply in Abuja. Joshua Ojito, NTA News.
And to security matters now, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Farouk Yahya, says the security challenges facing the country are surmountable. With effective training and improved synergy, there will be no hiding place for terrorists and other violent criminals that take up arms against the state. The Army Chief was speaking at the grand finale of the maiden edition of Operation Mogunbugu exercise at the Nigerian Army Major Training Area, Kontangora, Niger State. Mukhtar Wawo reports.
Each of the corps in the Nigerian Army has its unique specialty, skills, and competency which are designed to form part of the overall whole of our professional force in the Army. Effective integration of the skills into one decisive force gave birth to the exercise nickname in Hausa language, Mugumbugu, meaning deadly strike, where all combat arms of the Nigerian Army training schools came together for a joint training exercise. The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Farouk Yahya, says the Army will not rest until peace and security are restored across the country.
We are not relenting until we defeat all the adversary. No resting place, no hiding place for terrorists, other violent criminals that have taken up arms against the state.
Our hope is that the troops should take it to the enclaves of these bandits and terrorists so that they can hit them and hit them very hard.
All exercises in Nigerian training schools are expected to culminate into exercise Mukumbugu at the end of every year. In Kontagora, Mukhtar Wawo, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the Inspector General of Police, Usman Al-Khali Babar, has ordered the immediate reorganization of the cybercrime units in the Nigerian police force to ensure effectiveness, efficiency, and a formidable front against cybercrime-related offenses. Force Public Relations Officer Olomuyiwa Adejobi, in a statement, says all the various units under investigative departments hitherto investigating cybercrimes will be merged under the Nigerian Police Force National Cybercrime Center, domiciled in the Force Criminal Investigations Department, Force Headquarters, Abuja. The IGP equally approved the appointment of Deputy Commissioner of Police Henry Uche Ifani as the director in charge of the newly established Cybercrime Center. And to politics, INEC has reacted to a purported press statement alleging that the Commission has commenced investigation into a case of criminal forfeiture against the APC presidential candidate Bola Ahmed Tinubu in the forthcoming general election, and is liaising with a court in the United States of America in pursuit of same to determine a possible violation of the guidelines or the Electoral Act 2022. A statement by INEC National Commissioner for Information, Festus Okoye, knows that the said press release did not emanate from the Commission, nor is it pursuing the purported course of action. It is the handiwork of mischief makers and utterly fake. The public is advised to ignore the press release. Contact and Mobilization Committee of the Bola Ahmed Tinubu Presidential Council in the Northwest has engaged Islamic clerics in the North and reminded them on the need to reassure adherents of other religions of fairness, equity, and justice in supporting Bola Tinubu's presidential bid. Participants are unanimous on the need to address suspicions of non-Muslims in the country ahead of next year's general election. Suleiman Rigachiku reports.
Various Islamic bodies from the north have discussed areas of confidence building between them and adherents of other religions with a view to strengthening the support for Ashwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu and his running mate Kashim Shettima. While emphasizing on Islamic principles anchored on equity and justice, speakers took turn to denounce politics of religion. Rather, they believe in competence and capacity of a candidate.
Especially when you look at the candidates involved, Bola Aswaju Ahmed Tinubu and Kashim Shettima. All of them are true nationals and people who like to work in partnership and in cooperation with all to make Nigeria what it is supposed to be.
Whoever lives under the leadership of a Muslim must actually be accorded justice and fairness.
Conveners of the meeting say the idea of the engagement is to draw the attention of Islamic clerics on the need to promote issues which will galvanize the country.
As a way of uniting the country and to understand the sentiment, to put Nigeria first rather than any other thing.
Participants agreed to sensitize public on the desirability of Ashwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu presidential bid on account of his political antecedents. Suleiman Rigachkun, NTA News.
The PDP presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar has donated a sum of 50 million naira to the victims of this year's flood disaster in Jigawa State. Awal Muhammad reports that Atiku Abubakar announced the donation during a sympathy visit to the state. That report will come later. In the meantime, the presidential candidate of the People's Redemption Party, Kola Abiola, has continued to engage party stakeholders in a bid to promote his economic recovery plan for Nigeria. He was speaking at unveiling of the party's manifesto in Abuja. Garba Nata'ala reports.
It's a twin event, inauguration of the Presidential Campaign Council and unveiling of the manifesto, all with a mandate to ensure victory come 2023 general election.
If we don't win this election, it's because you have not worked hard enough for it.
Party members, states chairmen, legislative and governorship candidates across the 36 states of the Federation witnessed the event.
We have a field of 711 candidates nationwide, and that in itself gives us the kind of representation we should require to run a very successful campaign.
The PRP Presidential Campaign Council was also inaugurated, mandating all National Executive Committee members to act on various capacities at national and regional level, with the National Organizing Secretary, Sule Muhammad, as the Director General of the Campaign Council.
We appointed a 5-man editorial committee to finalize the manifesto.
We have people who have the passion, who have the commitment, and who have the selflessness to get elected so that they can work for the Nigerian people.
From all indication, party members are optimistic of winning and becoming victorious come 2023 in order to set their agenda to recover Nigeria. In Abuja, Garba Muhammad Natala, NTA News.
In the meantime, the management of the Nigerian Television Authority regrets to announce the indefinite suspension of the proposed political program Beyond the Debate. Jointly organized with Havel Corporate Concept Limited, the program was to provide a platform for presidential candidates of all the political parties to present their manifestos. The suspension follows unforeseen circumstances which are beyond the authority. The management of the NTA therefore regrets any inconveniences that the suspension might have caused the political parties, presidential candidates, and above all, the audience. Now, the Nigerian Economic Summit Group has cancelled the presidential debate on economic policy earlier planned for next Tuesday in Abuja. The private sector-led think tank and the policy advocacy group said the decision became necessary after a critical assessment of events surrounding recent engagements with the presidential candidate, as well as subsequent statements from political parties. The debate was aimed at providing a unique platform and opportunity for presidential candidates to discuss their economic agenda in an environment of civil discourse. The Lagos Business School is working to improve knowledge and administrative skills of public servants towards effective design and administration of policies, programs, and services for economic growth. This is being achieved through its public sector leadership program. Benny Adams reports that the school assembled stakeholders in the public and private sector in Abuja for a thought-provoking session on the urgent needs to make Nigeria work better.
Economic intelligence is not just economics as we see it. Science, technology, cyber, all this. Everything that will impact on the national economic interest in America, they have experts there that are thinking 24/7.
It was a moment of frank talk about making Nigeria work better, and very senior public servants, security chiefs, and private sector players share experiences and views on the way to go.
The Lagos Business School Public Sector Leadership Program will usher in further collaboration between LBS and public sector stakeholders in areas of critical capacity development to lead the public sector to deliver superior value to Nigerian public.
For NTA's Executive Director, Administration and Training, it is time to walk the talk.
Until we are able to get rid of this and look at justice, fairness, equity, effective representation, then and there, we begin to build the Nigeria of our dreams. And we believe that going forward, we will look towards that.
After we realize we have problems and we have to resolve and we have to go back to square one. We don't have to do that. If from the beginning we do impact assessment, risk assessment, how am I going to get over this if it develops? You'll have made your plan.
They all agree that rebuilding society on the foundation of justice, fairness, rule of law, effective representation, and competent leadership is the way to go. In Abuja, Benny Adams, NTA News.
The plight of orphans around the world has continued to raise concerns globally, which is why a day is set aside every year to commemorate World Orphans Day. Nigeria is not left out in recognizing the day, which comes up on November 14th. A walk was organized in Abuja by the Coalition of Orphanages and Children's Home in partnership with a non-governmental organization to create more awareness on the day. Ruth Aguele tells us more.
No child wants to come into the world becoming an orphan, but that is the stark reality of these children. At 8, Godwin Eze, even though an orphan, is already thinking of making an impact in the world. He wants to become a firefighter, and he shares with me why.
I want the world to be
a solidarity walk to raise greater awareness on the plight of orphans around the country, to set the pace for the commemoration of World Orphans Day that will be celebrated on November 14th. Every step for these children is a step of hope and an expected game changer. One voice, one plight, one mission.
We just came out of the rally and we want the public to support us.
And the slogan of SDG says, leaving no one behind. these children are Nigerian children. If they are not supported, some of them will stray and will become a burden to this country.
It's not only the government, also us as individuals. We need to support these kids, and we can support them financially, in kind, in any ways that we can to help them.
It was Mother Teresa who said, "Not all of us can do great things, but we can do small things with great love." If we must make the world a better place for all, moments like this need to be recognized. In Abuja, Ruth Aguele, NTA News.
And following the sustainable peace in the Northeast region, the National Population Commission in Yobe State has reiterated its commitment towards delivering an all-inclusive and acceptable census in next year's national population exercise. To this end, the Commission has opened its portal to those interested and with required qualifications to work as ad hoc staff during the headcount. Mustafa Yusuf completes the story.
As activities intensified preparatory to the 2023 National Population and Housing Census across Nigeria, the National Population Commission in Yobe State is leaving no one behind in the build-up to the civic exercise. Launching the e-recruitment portal for ad hoc staff in Damaturu, the Yobe State capital, Federal Commissioner Mai Aliu Muhammad says National Population Commission with support from security agencies and collaboration with the state government have mapped out strategies to ensure successful coverage of areas considered security risks during the head count.
To us in the Commission, the quality of staff that will perform the census activities are very important. Therefore, having good knowledge of the content of the census document, the technique and the organization of the census process is key to the success of the 2023 population and housing census.
Ranked on the 32nd spot in the 2006 National Census, Yobe State has a population of more than 2.3 million people spread across its 17 local government areas. In Damaturu, Mustafa Yusuf, NTA News.
You're watching Weekend File of the NTA. It's time for our first break. Do stay with us.
Honorable Minister of Information and Culture, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, welcomes the United Nations World Tourism Organization Secretary General and Ministers of Tourism, Culture and Arts from the UNWTO member states to the first UNWTO Global Conference on Linking Tourism, Culture and the Creative Industries. Date from 14th to 16th November 2022. Venue, National Theatre, Igomu, Lagos. Workshops and technical sessions starts on 14th November. Opening ceremony 15th November, time 10 a.m. A Day with Nollywood, 16th November, time 10 a.m. Special guest, UNWTO Secretary General, Mr. Zurab Pololikashvili. Special guest of honor, His Excellency Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR, President, Federal Republic of Nigeria. Mrs. Lydia Shehu Jafia, MNI, Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Information and Culture. Announcer.
Fighting here and there, we don't want it at all. Killing people today, tomorrow, we don't want it at all. And we don't want separation. You do your own, I do my own. Make it go. No. We don't want that one. We may quarrel and disagree, but let it be on the table of dialogue. No blood, chaos, war, violence. Let us stand with our nation as one people. And we must also stand for the armed forces. They are our husbands and wives. They are our brothers and sisters. Please support the armed forces whose lives are always on the front line to protect our nation. Nigeria is your own. Nigeria is mine. Nigeria is our own. And uniqueness is in our oneness. Our oneness is our strength.
Thank you. Hi there. Hello. You can price shop, but you're always saving on everything except for here. This is where you're throwing money down the drain. How? On this cleaning product. Impossible. You need the new Harpic toilet cleaner. With just 130 naira sachet of Harpic toilet cleaner, you save more. Harpic stick formula stays longer, so it cleans 10 times better. Wow, Helen! And it saves because it's only 30 naira, giving you a sparkling clean toilet and great savings too.
Brookville Hotel and Suites, we are poised to ensuring your happiness and comfort. At Brookville Hotel and Suites, we are hospitable and value our customers. Our cuisines are healthy and tasty. We have a secured environment and we give your event a top-notch touch. Brookville Hotel and Suites has an array of rooms and conference halls that gives you the desired variety. Access our swimming pool and gym, where professionalism is at its peak. Visit us today at Plot 553, Cadastral Zone, Gadua District, opposite Lokogoma Junction, Abuja, FCT.
Thanks for staying with us on Weekend File. Now, do you know that this is not the first time Nigeria is redesigning the Naira abruptly? Well, for a lot of young adults, this is a first-time experience, and Leah Katungu-Batunde in this report chronicles the history and metamorphosis of the Nigerian currency.
The first major currency to be issued in Nigeria was undertaken following the Colonial Ordinance of 1880, which introduced the shillings and pence as the legal tender in British West Africa. Ahead of Nigeria's independence, precisely on 1st July 1959, the Central Bank of Nigeria issued Nigerian currency banknotes, but it was not until 1st July 1962 that the currency was changed to reflect the country's republican status. A major change occurred in January 1973. The Naira emerged to replace the pound, while the kobo replaced the shilling. 11th February 1977, the 20 Naira note was issued, and it bore for the first time the portrait of a prominent Nigerian citizen, the late head of state, General Murtala Ramat Muhammad. 2nd July 1979, new currency banknotes of 3 denominations, 1, 5, and 10 Naira were introduced. The next change occurred in April 1984. The colors of all the banknotes in circulation were changed, with the exception of the 50 kobo banknote. In 1991, the 50 kobo and 1 Naira transformed from notes to coins. The 100, 200, 500, and 1,000 Naira banknotes were introduced in December 1999, November 2000, April 2001, and October 2005 in response to the expansion in economic activities. On 28 February 2007, 20 Naira was issued for the first time in a polymer. The 50, 10, and 5 Naira banknotes, as well as 1 Naira and 50 kobo coins, were reissued in new designs, and the 2 Naira coin was introduced. The redesigned 50, 10, and 5 Naira banknotes were converted to polymer substrate, following the successful performance of the 20 Naira on 30th September 2009. In commemorating the 50th anniversary of Nigeria's independence, the CBN issued the 50 Naira commemorative polymer banknote on the 29th of September 2010, while the 100 Naira commemorative note issued on the 19th of December 2014 was to mark 100 years of Nigeria's existence as a nation. Nigeria is in yet another process of changing the face of the Naira.
17 years since they did any of such redesigning. And of course, if you wait that long, then counterfeiters and other criminal elements would have mastered your currency.
But we only hope that as we're having new currency, policy will be made that what that new currency could buy would also be better and will be improved and not be faced with devaluation.
We are not replacing 3.2 trillion banknotes with new notes in circulation. We are going to have a lot of policies that will go alongside it, that will make sure that we adopt an electronic payment system.
President Muhammadu Buhari insists no going back on the policy build to end the swapping of currency notes by January 31, 2023. Leah Katumba-Batunde, NTA News.
The decision by the Apex Bank CBN to float new designs on the nation's legal tender with a view to controlling rising inflation, discourage hoarding, and checkmate risk of counterfeiting has been identified as a panacea to addressing some fundamental issues relating to proper management of the currency. Abolade Salami reports.
As the clock ticks to the date set by the Central Bank of Nigeria to take out from circulation current high denominations Naira notes in order to accommodate a redesigned legal tender by mid-December this year, most Nigerians have engaged in what is mostly referred to as last hours shopping in a bid to discard the Naira notes kept for various reasons. While the Monetary Authority reports that as of September 2022, a total of 3.2 trillion naira was in circulation, of which 2.73 trillion naira was outside the vaults of the banks. This trend, some financial experts pointed as troubling for an economy struggling to weather the storm.
Timing could sort of cause some kind of problem in the economy if you think of the fact that inflation has crossed over 20%, and they think that with this activity a lot of cash will come into circulation, which is one thing that the CBN has been trying to do, to mop excess cash from circulation and put inflation under check.
As deposit money banks in recent weeks play host to more customers for deposit of cash, many cash depositors are cautious not to step on banana peels or caught in the web of the anti-graft agencies by the volume of cash in their possession, and therefore devise other means to acquire assets.
So people are trying to look for, properties or any fixed asset that they can invest in a bid to also try to lessen the amount of cash they have within their system.
Eventually, most of this money, whether you use to buy asset or you take it directly to the bank, most of this money will end up in the banking system.
As against claims that the decision is coming at a wrong time, going by the amount of fund it will cost to redesign the Naira note, some financial experts have thrown their weight behind the Central Bank Governor Godwin Emefiele, where he stressed that the move will mop up the 3.2 trillion naira in circulation into CBN for the bank to take control of the money supply. In Lagos, Abolade Salami, NTA News.
Now, let's quickly bring in our guests on the program tonight, Dr. Chijoke Ekechukwu, an economist, Vice President Industry, Abuja Commerce, Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and the former Director General, Abuja Chamber of Commerce. Dr. Ekechukwu, you're welcome.
Thank you, Ken. It's my pleasure.
Views are coming from different quarters since the announcement to redesign certain denominations of the Naira was made by the central bank. And we are wondering, it's not the first time, like history has taught us, but then coming from every other angle, what really are we looking at with this policy? Because, like I said earlier, varying views are making the rounds.
Usually when such major decisions like this that will affect the citizens of Nigeria and affect our economy, when such decisions are taken, many times people are very apprehensive. Apprehensive because they are not very aware of what could happen tomorrow concerning their investments and concerning their currencies that they have stacked everywhere. So that apprehension is actually what is playing out when people are reacting in different forms. CBN actually told us the reason for this redesign. All these have been in the public domain. So what people will have to do is just to trust that CBN meant well for the economy of Nigeria. Of course, there has been a lot of speculations, and we have seen that trigger of whatever thing we have seen in the forest market. And of course, they are in charge of monetary policy, and they are controlling all these vices that are happening around right now. So we already heard and we already know that it wasn't the first time. So all we need to do is just to believe and trust CBN. This is a monetary policy decision which has been approved by CBN, by the government of Nigeria. And so we need to agree with them and watch to see how it is going to make our economy better. And I'm hopeful. I'm one of the advocates of the fact that it will make the economy better. So Nigerians should actually be calm and trust CBN and believe that CBN has an important thing to do to make our economy better.
I think that's where the general public really thinking about. In practical terms, can you explain the impact, the positives?
CBN already mentioned. And of course, even if they didn't mention, I knew that the impact was going to be the first to actually get all the monies that are outside the system into the system. The first benefit of this is the fact that CBN at all times should be able to tell us how much money is in circulation. And that circulation means the banking circulation and of course, the financial institution circulation. If they don't have record of such monies in circulation, then it's worrisome. And so bringing all the monies into circulation, into the system is a very important decision to make. So that when you are embarking on any monetary policy check, if you want to increase the CRR or you want to reduce the MPR and all those, you know why you're taking those decisions. So you see a situation where some decisions are taken by the Monetary Policy Committee and things work against themselves because there are so many of these currencies outside of the system. So that is number one. Of course, you also identify that there are counterfeit currencies. And so the only way you have to eliminate those counterfeit is just to pull everything and let everybody bring into the system. As we're bringing, the banks are going to determine which ones are real and which ones are counterfeit. And of course, we already know the inflation, the impact on inflation. And so it is very important. It's a very important decision taken at this time that is also going to check inflation. Because if you have too much money around the system, pursuing very little, you see that's actually what inflation is. And so those are the benefits Nigerians are going to have. And so what benefit will it have on an average Nigerian? Exactly. An average Nigerian is going to start experiencing the fact that, yes, right now it looks like oil prices are going up because of speculation. People are beginning to look for the foreign currency side of it in order to avoid going to the bank. But I can tell you that over time, in the long run, what we're going to have is that, first of all, we're going to have inflation drop. We're going to also have, of course, when inflation drops, that also presupposes that the prices of goods and services are also going to drop. So the average man on the street benefits from that. If there are currencies in circulation, obviously, we'll just eliminate them. And so people can only carry the right currencies as the case may be. It's going to make us more productive. Of course, we're also going to see a lot of less cash transactions. People are going to now do a lot of electronic transfers, a lot of banking, electronic payments. And if we do all those, the issues of robberies on the way and all those things, robbing monies that are packed, will be reduced. So there are many benefits for us. Of course, it's also the fact that there are flip sides. But of course, since we are not talking about the flip sides, let's also know that in the long run, Nigerians are going to benefit from this.
All right, we'll talk some more, Dr. Ekechukwu, but for now, let's take you on another break on Weekend File.
Say they don't they put spices inside food because of the aroma and better way they do for body. But una need plenty space to keep all your spices if you want to enjoy the better inside there. Now, Mr. Chef Mixed Spices Seasoning Cube don't land with all your rich spices where you love inside one cube. Mr. Chef Mixed Spices Seasoning Cube. Spice mix where they perfect exactly the way you like them. They available for seasoning cubes and powder. Try them today.
In a third final in 20 years.
Simply out of this world. Get a GoTV decoder, GoTenna, and 1 month max subscription for only 6,900 naira. Watch all the 64 games live from Qatar on GoTV Super.
Welcome back. Agricultural commodities at the famous Dawanau International Grains Market are witnessing increase in prices with influx of buyers as a result of the policy of redesigning the Naira notes by the Central Bank of Nigeria. Muhammad Ali reports that so far, in line with the policy, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has arrested 7 Bureau de Change operators in Kano State.
Economists are of the opinion that redesigning of some Naira notes by the federal government will affect businesses in Kano as hub of commercial activities with volume of daily transactions running into billions of Naira through informal system. For instance, the former single commodity market and Dawanau Grains International Market witnessed influx of people from within and neighboring West African countries for business. The policy, they said, has two sides of the same coin. There are challenges with regards to this policy, especially we traders. Most of our people in the rural communities don't know how to deposit. Stakeholders are of the view that creating more awareness by the Apex Bank and Economic and Financial Crimes Commission on the policy and how to go about lawful transactions will go a long way in minimizing the panic of an unintended consequences.
Support these banks with even some vehicles to be going into our places and let the financial inclusion issue be linked to this issue of money changes, so that if you go to the bank, the branches and the villages, you could have a vehicle that is at one time opening an account and taking the money and giving the guarantee to the money owners that the money is just not being taken away from them.
Nigeria's case became peculiar. That one, this is to be legal tender because one, they are checking hoarding. Those who hoard it must bring it out and must change it within the specified period. Once it is completely redesigned, that means all counterfeit currency in circulation will cease to exist and they can't take it to the bank. So it is now also their own losses. Once you did not, they don't cease to be illegal tender, then those, terrorists and of course kidnappers can continue keeping their own money.
They enjoin traders to deposit to their bank account the existing currencies to enable them withdraw the new